Hi, BookTube. Welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and I just got back from Gibbons and have a book and a book haul, 3 books to show you guys. Um, which is funny because as soon as I got back and opened up YouTube so that I could watch videos in the evening, I saw Tristan the Classics, one of my favorite booktubers. He made a video about how we have so many unread books on our shelves and that we buy more books than we read them. And watching that, I felt totally called out on that because I know that I buy a lot. I do read my books, but I buy more than I get books read. So I definitely felt, so like I said, I definitely felt called out. It was a good video and good advice. I probably won't stop buying books, but I mean, it's my reading is really my only hobby. I mean, I try to, I've said this before, I've tried to get other hobbies like adult coloring books and diamond painting, and I kind of gave up on the diamond paint. I mean, I haven't totally given up. It's still there. Like, but it's just, I feel discouraged with the diamond painting because it is very hard to place those little beads, those little diamonds on the picture. I get frustrated and everything and impatient, and I just, the fact that I didn't follow what they suggest you do with that by doing it in parts, kind of messed me up. And then the adult coloring, adult coloring book is a little bit easier of a hobby to get into. And like I said, my only excuse is always, oh, it's a reason for me to get out of the house and, go do something. And or to take a walk or something, or get in some exercise. If I didn't walk in the morning, because there have been a couple mornings where I don't walk because of weather or something, or like I'm not feeling too great, and but in my as I told him in my comment, that in my defense, my used bookshop will take donations, and I almost always make sure I have donations for them. And I will look through my bookshelves and see if there's, any books I can remove from the shelf and donate, which it's hard to do sometimes. Um, but I think what I can at least try to do is make sure I read more of my own books before I buy any more. That's the best compromise I admit that I'll probably be willing to give. Um, But yeah, and the other thing I'm always worried about, one day someone's gonna say something, because I know there are people on BookTube that will comment that, oh, these people probably they don't read their books, they just buy them and collect them, which, and I'm biased here, but I don't think that's true at all. Because a lot of people will actually review their books, and it's like, I don't think if you don't read the books, you could do a good review. Like, you could review it all, because how can you review if you haven't actually read the book? I guess you could look up stuff about the book, but I feel like it's one thing to look up and read something on the internet versus actually physically read the book. So I think that's an unfair assumption to think that, and that's just a crazy assumption to think that people don't read the books that they talk about. I think the only thing people may be guilty of is that they buy more books than they read. But that doesn't mean that they don't read them. So, but like I said, this video is about the books I had just purchased, which I only spent like $12 because each book was only $4, which I've already told you every time I tell it, because it makes me feel a little less guilty if I assure people that I didn't spend that much. um, so the first book that I bought was actually one that I already had a copy of it, and it was a hardback copy, but it was not my copy. Originally, it was my mom's copy, and it was a gift from my grandmother to my mom. It does have a dedication in it, and that's the only reason, but I just don't always love reading hardback books. Says the woman who has like at least 3 Stephen King books that are hardback, and I haven't gotten rid of those yet. Like, I could always buy another like copies of those books, because those are his bigger, he has long books. And maybe I will at some point, you know? I mean, I have thought about it, but then I'm always thinking, oh, I need to get the new Stephen King book that I haven't read yet. But the book is Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell, one of my favorite classics. And yes, it does. I acknowledge that it does have some things in that today people look at and are not happy, that it's controversial, and I'm aware of that. I acknowledge that. I don't, obviously, I don't support it. I don't agree with it, but I still love the story itself. I love, Scarlett O'Hara is such an amazing heroine. She's not likable at all as a protagonist. She'll steal her sister's bow in a heartbeat. But she's the one who gets shit done. And, it's such a fascinating story to see these people that just, their whole way of life is destroyed in one fell swoop. And you almost pity these people. I do, and yes, I like the edition because it's pretty. With the gold and the typography, and then, this is the same cover, and I think this is also the same cover that's on the hardback one that I have, my mom's copy. And yes, if my mom, and I will ask my mom if she cares about that, or if she doesn't care about the book, then I might donate. I will probably donate it, but if she thinks I should keep it, then I might put it aside to put it somewhere, or maybe take it to her shelf. I might just do it anyway, and then if she ever says anything, or I could always put it. I do have a box of books that, although I need to go through those and see which ones I really do want to keep and save for the, like the Harry Potter ones. I still love that series, and it's still one of my favorite, and I will have a soft place in my heart for that series. And I want to save those because there's, and then I have some other classics in there and kids books in there, so but some of them I might remove one day and just take out, and it'll be like, it's not a big deal if I don't keep these. And there's ones that I kind of want to pass down to Harrison one day, although my sister said that don't save any books for the kids. So, but I might put the hardback version of the other copy of Gone with the Wind in there, because I don't have the shelf space to have 2 copies of books, even if it's a favorite book. But yeah, so that's my first one. So the next one is, let me just go ahead and show you this. So I intend to start Faulkner, which I should go ahead and pick up. This is one of those ones that I need to pick up his books before I start, because that is definitely a problem where, I have a bad habit of buying multiple books by the author before I read through one of their books. I did read the Kurt Vonnegut book, Player Piano, and I really liked it. Before I buy another Kurt Vonnegut, I feel like I need to read the other one, the Galapagos. I need to pick up that one. And I would save it for the summer, but I probably should read it sooner rather than later, so that if I want to get another one, I won't have to feel guilty. But so this is As I Lay Dying, and this makes 3 books by Faulkner that I have. So I have A Light in August, and the other one was dang it, I can't think of it. Let me see if it has a list of his books in here. I hope it does. Please tell me. Okay, yep. Light in August. Okay, so Light in August. Not Sanctuaries. The Sound of the Fury. I have that one. Okay, so Sound of the Fury, Light in August, and now I have As I Lay Dying. Which I attempted to read this one once before because I got one of those collections of an author's work books, those big books that have several of the author's novels in one big volume, and I don't remember what that volume was called. All I remember is that they have a black dust jacket, and they'll have the author's last name, and this is their greatest works or their most famous novels or whatever. And I think this one was in there in that collection. And Light in August, I think, too, was in there, too. But maybe this time, because it's not in one big book, it will be less intimidating, and maybe I'll be more into it, because especially with the way this is written, it's published in a way that's a little less stream of consciousness, or at least it doesn't look like it. Like, we actually have chapters and stuff, so. Let's see, I'm gonna read the back. As L.A. died is a harrowing account of the Bunn family's odyssey across the Mississippi countryside to bury Addie, their wife and mother. Narrating turned by each of the family members, including Addie herself, as well as others in the community, the novel ranges in mood from dark comedy to the deepest pathos. And he's probably gonna have, just like Gone with the Wind, he's probably gonna have racist stuff in there. There's probably got racism in here, because it's South for you. But I still want to read them. And then last but not least is I got another Edward Rutherford book. Should I read? I guess, because let me go ahead and read the back of Gone with the Wind. I know people have probably know what it's about, but I mean, people will probably know what this is too. So let me read the back of the, Margaret Mitchell's epic saga of love and war has long been heralded as the great American novel. Gone with the Wind explores the depths of human passions and indelible depictions of burning fields and cities of the Civil War and Reconstruction America. In the two main characters, the irresistible, tenacious Scarlett O'Hara and the formidable, debonair Rhett Butler, Margaret Mitchell gives us a timeless story of survival and two of the most famous lovers in English-speaking world since Romeo and Juliet. Gone with the Wind is a thrilling, haunting, vivid book that readers will remember for the rest of their lives. I don't know about comparing them to Romeo and Juliet. I know they're epic lovers too and everything, but like to me it's weird comparing them to Romeo and Juliet, because Romeo and Juliet are like, they're sweet and innocent and they're nice to each other, while Scarlett and Rhett are just so mean to each other and just they're very toxic and just like especially on Scarlett, she's such a mean person. Yeah, so it's weird to compare them to Romeo and Juliet. I know they're both epic lovers. But so I don't know. I think Rhett and Scarlett are not even like, Kathy and Heathcliff, because Kathy and Heathcliff actually, yeah, that's probably a better comparison. That's a better comparison, because I was going to say, at least Kathy and Heathcliff, they like each other, but no, they also are very hostile towards each other. In fact, he wants revenge on her, I think, later on, if I remember correctly. I need to reread that one. But yeah, so there's the back of that one. So the last book I'm going to show you, like I said, it's Rutherford. This is the guy who wrote Paris, New York, Ruska, I think that's how you say it. I think that's his Russian novel. And the two that I have currently are Sarum and London by him. I used to have Paris, but at the time I was not as into it. I wasn't feeling, because I was, very intimidated by the length and feeling like I have so many other shorter books that won't take as long for me to read, and I'm just like, it's so easy to say, oh, I'll commit to it, I will just read this book, but then I'm like, it's so long and there's so many other books that I can read, which, I mean, Tristan's advice would probably help me, not have so much anxiety about that. I mean, compared to other people that I've seen on BookTube, mine is not as bad, but that's a probably a poor excuse, because I mean, I have like now like 4 shelves. But this is about Ireland and its history, and so let me read the back. Brilliantly weaving impeccable historical research with stirring storytelling, Edward Rutherford explores our shared Celtic roots, a magnificent epic of Ireland spanning 11 centuries, while vividly conveying the passions and struggles that shaped particularly the character of Dublin. Rutherford portrays the major events in Irish history, the tribal culture of pagan Ireland, the mission of St. Patrick, the coming of the Vikings, the making of treasures like the Book of Kells, and the trickery of Henry II, which gave England its first foothold in medieval Ireland. Through the interlocking stories of a memorable cast of characters, druids and chieftains, monks and smugglers, noblewomen, farmwives, laborers, orphans, rebels, and cowards, Rutherford captures the essence of a place and its people in a thrilling story steeped in tragedy and glory that are Ireland. Which I feel like he'll probably be an author that the place he's writing about will be just as much of a character in his stories as the actual people. In fact, I think that's what the sentence basically says. That where is that sentence at? That, yeah, while vividly conveying the passions and struggles that shaped particularly the character of Dublin. He refers to Dublin as a character, which I like that. I think it's cool how authors can make a place or even an object, like, like in Titanic, the movie Titanic. Titanic, the ship, was the character as much as, the people, as much as Jack and Rose were. I think that's amazing. There's an author that can do that. I mean, Stephen King does it, I feel like, all the time. Like, Maine is a character within his stories, I feel like. And Castle Rock and Derry are characters. But yeah. Which basically, this is my other problem, is like, as soon as I get new books and then when I do the book haul, all of a sudden I want to pick up those books and read that. That's another aspect of my problem of buying more books than I read through them. Like I said, my hope is to get myself to read more books before I buy another one. But anyway, so that is my book haul, my 3-book book haul. Do any of you feel, do any of you guys have that same situation where you haul books more than you read them? Or, I know I'm not the only one. I see it all the time on BookTube. But it would make me feel a little better if I know if any of my subscribers feel the same way, feel the same way. But anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying your reading, and I hope, and I will talk to y'all later. All right, bye.